Hello there, City Skylines enthusiasts. My name is Flyvox. Welcome back to Flyvox Talks Cities. This is going to be the second episode of the podcast where we talk about our beloved city building simulation, City Skylines. With me today is the one and only Teddy Radko. Teddy, hi. Uh,
Hello.
Teddy, would you be so kind and say a few words about yourself, please?
Oh yes. Hello. I am Teddy Radko, sometimes known as, and I like City Skylines. I have many thousands of hours in this game, and I like to build cities that don't use like a lot of custom assets. So I'm on the Reddit. I'm known as the vanilla asset guy. And that's
Nice. I've
me.
also I've also heard that about you, the vanilla acid guy. This is really, really
Yes.
cool. So, Teddy, tell me, City Skylines, when did you first hear about the game? Is there anyone or anything that inspired you to play it after you initially found out about it?
Oh yeah, so that's actually a fun question that I had to think about. Like, and I kind of had to dig back in my memory, like all those years ago. It feels like, but I remember I was super excited when the new SimCity game was going to be released. It was 2013, I think, because I've been into the genre of city building games for a long time, and then of course this was going to be the next sort of big thing, and it's going to be so exciting, and I was really looking forward to it. But eventually, it turned out to be kind of a flop, so I never actually even got it. And I remember, like me and a lot of others were like disappointed. And eventually, I think I saw some YouTube videos from a guy called Sky Storm, who were like sort of showing some early access footage of the game at some point. And I think that's how for my first memories of seeing City Skylines. And I'm like, oh, this could be pretty nice. This could be the game instead. And then like kept following it until it was released in 2015, and I got the game pretty much directly on launch. I think, if I remember, started playing it like the first day or so.
Nice. That's awesome. So there's actually well, we have that in common. I too found
Yeah,
this game through YouTube, and I think a
yeah,
lot of people did actually.
yeah,
So for me, it was someone telling me about the game, and then I
yeah,
just actively searched for it. But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
also like a lot of people just got recommended these videos that just popped up, like the
yeah, yeah,
I think like the early access kind of stuff, and also the like I just remember people initially jumping in and doing the how to start your city like right off the bat, these kind of videos,
yeah,
and those resonated with a lot of people, and so I think that's really cool that a lot
yeah,
of people, a lot of us that love the game so much started out
yeah,
with, well, we saw a video on YouTube about it, so
yeah,
that's pretty amazing, I think.
yeah. Can I ask a counter question? When did you start? When did you find the game or get into it?
I found it well, actually a coworker of mine suggested
Ah,
to me
okay,
this game, right? I was
interesting.
never into like these
Yeah,
simulation games, into this genre of
yeah, yeah.
games. And he told me about it. He's like, "Yo, you got to check this out. There's like this new game. It's a city building simulation. It's totally epic." I'm like,
You're gonna love it.
"Well, exactly." I'm like, I don't
Well,
know. I don't know. I was like skeptical because it wasn't really my type of genre
yeah,
anyway. And
yeah.
he's like, "Yo, check it out, check it out." Anyway, he bugged me so much. I was like, "All right, let's,
I'd have to try it.
okay, YouTube. I gotta watch." So I just typed in,
Yeah,
City Skylines, and the first video I saw on the game was Imperial Jedi's like how to start, his like most successful video from like 7 or 8 years
oh,
ago now. His
oh,
like
okay.
first real
Yeah,
video on the game, and I
yeah,
got hooked instantly. Like I
yeah,
don't know if it was just because of the game or also because of like
yeah,
Imperial Jedi, because I really do enjoy watching his stuff until this day. So
yeah,
that's what got me in there. First, it was the coworker that told me about it. I was
yeah,
skeptical. Then I checked out a video, and I fell in love.
yeah,
So I was on console back in the day, PlayStation
yeah,
4, and so I got the game. I got it used even. Like I didn't even want to pay for
yeah,
the
yeah,
full
yeah.
price. So I got a sweet deal on a used game. But ever since, I enjoy it so much, and
Yeah,
I love playing it. It's so that was that
yeah.
too. Yeah, coworker,
I've,
and
I've,
then YouTube.
I think Imperial Jedi did a good job of actually promoting the game, because I've heard I've heard several people getting into the game, like from his YouTube content on it. Actually, I think I at least have a few friends who have started playing because of that. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he also really got like an early start. Like if I remember correctly, I've heard his story before. He got the game also on like on launch day, on release day,
Yeah.
immediately started recording videos and publishing
Yeah.
them like on the same day. So he was like really
Yeah.
aside from the early access
Yeah.
folks, he was like initially out there with videos.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that he like drew a lot of people to the game, which I think is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
So Teddy, what was your first playing experience like? Like, is there anything special that you remember from your first time playing? You booted up the game, you're like, what do I have to do now? Or how was it?
I like. I think I still have that same save game somewhere. Like was so much. There's so much I remember from it. Like I remember how it looked. Maybe because I have like 2 or 3 screenshots from it, and like, oh, I could remember the struggles, and it was a big deal. Like I played a lot, like long stretches. I was like hooked, really badly hooked. I remember like basically the courses I was studying back then. Like I had 2 courses for university, and I
Yeah.
failed both of the exams that semester, or that sort of that period. I made up for it later. Like it's fine, no worries. But
Okay.
it's I that's the first and only time that happened. So I sort of attribute that a little bit to the game. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it could be other things as well. But I know it was a big, very very exciting.
Oh yeah, that I can imagine. That is quite something to remember from your
Yeah.
first time. Like, oh my God. Playing the game so much. But I do know you like from Discord and Twitter sometimes. I see sometimes that you have to actually go to studies, but you prefer to sometimes just play the game. So
Yes.
I read that as well. So
Yeah,
I mean, what
it's
can you do? It's an
unfortunate.
amazing game. It's an amazing game to
Yeah,
this day.
it is
It's
very.
it's like almost 8 years old. That's
Yeah.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's it's insane. I just saw the tweet today from Paradox. Almost 8 years old. It's
Oh yeah,
wow,
that's right. It's coming
amazing.
up on the anniversary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, really, really nice. Was this game actually related to you starting the content creation journey? Like you're a live streamer, you
Yeah.
do some YouTube videos, I believe,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Sure.
of course you're on Twitter a lot and you're posting pictures and stuff. Was
Yeah.
that game the trigger for you to start creating content?
Yeah. I wouldn't know. Yeah. Exactly. I don't think I would be doing anything like that if it wasn't for the game. Like, and
Nice.
it's basically because I feel like I've been spending so much time on like learning it and like doing it that I might as well like sort of share more. And that's how it started. Like I shared more and more pictures. I was talking to a lot more people about it, like online, getting to know all these fantastic like new friends that I've got to learn the last couple of years from basically sharing more of me playing the game. So I've been playing it a lot and like on and off since the game was launched. But I just like a few years ago I started really sort of, I guess, trying to join the community of the game, or
Yeah.
like you know getting into uh, content creation as well. So and it wouldn't be like I don't feel like I have that much. Like I have a lot of like I guess opinions and things and stuff and whatever. Like, but this is the only thing I've really felt like, yeah, this is worth sharing for me at least. So that's how I got into it. The game is absolutely necessary. Was
That's really
necessary.
nice. So I didn't initially start with City Skylines. So I actually come from, like as I said, I'm not. This is not my initial
Yeah,
genre of games. I'm like more the platforming, jump and run Mario
yeah,
big thing from the
yeah,
childhood. It followed
yeah,
me all the way up to this day. Nowadays I'm teaching my kid to play Mario
yeah.
and all this stuff. So I started with that actually, and
Uh,
I think about a year after me just posting clear videos of Mario levels on YouTube,
Yeah.
I thought like, hey, I like Skylines so much. Why not give it a shot? Just like do
Yeah.
a let's play, a city build, a let's play on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. And so, yeah, once I started creating more and more content and getting kind of serious about it, like also in the
Yeah.
live stream space and not just YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And when you learn all this stuff, or like when you inform yourself about all this stuff, when you educate yourself
Mhm.
about content creation, you gotta like post on all the various social media
Yeah.
platforms. And I also did TikTok with
Yeah.
Mario clips and also City Skylines clips. And of course, TikTok kind of like pushed one of my Skylines clips to like I think almost like 3 million views now, and I gained like over 20,000 followers for City
Yeah.
Skylines. So I was kind of like, okay, TikTok
Oh.
pushed me into
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the you got to do more
Yeah.
Skyline
Yeah.
stuff, right? And so I
Yeah.
dropped Mario completely at one point, and I just
Oh, okay. I
focused
see.
on
Yeah.
Skylines, and that's why I only do City Skylines nowadays.
Yeah.
And yeah, then the same as you, getting more and
Yeah.
more into the community, finding more and more people,
Yeah.
and getting like diving deeper into the game as well, and then I
Yeah.
switched to PC gaming with modded
Yeah.
gameplay, and
Yeah.
that was like a whole new world, of course. And it's
Yeah.
just, I'm just so thankful for right now. It's so amazing and it's so much fun, the game itself, and then just to be like a Skylines content creator is really really fun. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad I gave that a shot.
Yeah.
Back in the day, on my early YouTube days, with that initial playthrough, I think it's even still up there on on my channel, like a PS4 Let's
Yeah.
Play Build a City type deal, and I even gave some tips back then.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was
That's
really fun.
like that's one thing that weirdly sort of scares scares me a lot. I don't like to make playthrough video style play. Like it's something I know that
Yeah,
I should be doing, and everybody always says that I should do it, but it's sort of I've never really dared to try it because it takes so much time recording, and it takes so much more time for me, honestly, like playing just to get something that's worth showing. I fear anyway. So it's like it's an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I
yeah.
do understand.
You understand, and my hat goes off for you who actually just goes and does it. So yeah,
Why, thank you so
I,
much.
we, I guess yeah, I'm weirdly scared about things that maybe aren't really to be scared about, but you know what I mean.
Exactly. And I mean, it is really, it can be a lot of work sometimes,
Yeah,
right? Especially like the Let's Play series. You got to be aware of what,
mm,
like, you got to find the right balance. You want to
yeah,
have a nice city, you want to grow the city, of course.
yeah,
But if you want to show off everything, you
yeah,
got to, like, okay, what is interesting to the
yeah,
viewer? What
exactly.
would I want to watch? Do I want to
Yeah,
watch just like general expansion? Well, it
yeah,
depends. You have to make it interesting. Of course,
yeah,
you have to have like these some filler episodes
mm,
that is just city growth and expansion, unless you decide like, okay, we're going to do these like boring stretches of the
yeah,
city build where you just try to get up the population, you just meet some demand, whatever, like do that off camera,
yeah,
and then really go into like, okay, we're going to do airport, we're going to do like
yeah,
a multi-layered public transportation hub, we're going to do
yeah,
cargo stuff, like that's like interesting for an episode.
yeah,
But yeah, so with the general expansion, the way I go about it is I try to make it like I try to throw in like small tips and tricks and how
yeah,
to do this, and like to keep it interesting. So
yeah.
and that's fun to do. But yeah,
And it's
I
hard
gotta,
to do. It's a skill.
yeah,
That's not easy. If
exactly.
I'd figured out how to do that, maybe I would do those kind of videos more often. But like for me, it's a lot like about the trial and error. I need the process of just testing and failing, and like it can be so simple as like I'm gonna like it might be a design question like where do I want this building to go, and I would like try to place it here, and they're like nah,
Yeah,
it's okay, but if I remove this road and like if I do that and like reorient stuff, and like I can do that for ages it seems, and eventually it always turns out good. but it just takes so long time that it doesn't really make any sense to sort of, oh, here is how you do, here is how you
I get that.
figure out the good design for your industry port or something like that.
Oh yeah,
trial
100%.
I mean, it's a bit it's not very satisfying to watch or like to tell anybody that this is how you do it. You try and you try and you try until it finally works, but I don't know.
That is so true. Like in the end,
Yeah.
you as the player, you have to figure out, you have to feel, okay, this is
Yeah,
right for me. This looks right in my city. This is amazing.
yeah.
And then you have to like go with the flow. And it's very true. It does
Mm.
take a lot of time, the recording process, the editing process, of course, the prep work, because I'm like you also. I'm like very unsure. Is this good looking? Does this building go here? How about this road? Should we like curve it or
Mm.
And I find myself sometimes booting up the game, wanting to play just for myself, and then oh wait, I'll go into the save. I'll just try and pre-build the area that I want to
Yeah.
record and just see where I want to place stuff,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
just like not save it and then go back in and just
Yeah.
like then do it sort of the way I practiced it,
Yeah.
so that I like figure out, okay, I figure out off camera where what goes and where do I put what, and so it's
Yeah.
like kind of a better flow in the storytelling, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
It's so funny you say that. I have like at least 2 or 3 videos basically recorded of me, or not recorded, but to be recorded. Like I have these I want to do. Like this is something I really want to show. And I've gone in and sort of done a dry run and like tried to build it just to see that can I show this in a good way in like maybe 20 minutes or less. And had the most bad luck possible. Like everything just breaks and like the game crashes on me, and like
oh no.
when I go in to do the actual recording. So it's like I'm always like sort of superstitious about doing dry runs and like sort of trying stuff before, because I've had so much bad luck, I feel like. But I don't know, maybe yeah.
I do understand that, yeah. At some point, you're just like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. No,
Yeah,
too much bad things happen. Or
the universe is trying to tell me something about this bridge. Maybe I shouldn't do it.
oh yeah. So Teddy, you said
Yeah.
about yourself, the
Yeah.
vanilla asset creator, City Skylines,
Yeah.
creating assets. Is that like what you enjoy most about the game when you create these assets?
I love I love sort of figuring out how to do stuff alternative ways, I guess, and sort of I can see some kind of building, and then like I know this is supposed to be like a fire station, or I know this is supposed to be a sort of pillar of some sort, but can I use it for something else and try to like change it and bend what it is, like with my imagination, and sort of get it to work as good as it can. So that's absolutely my favorite. That's what I've specialized in anyway. That's like my thing.
Very nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and kudos to you, because the stuff that I seen from you, especially like these bridges, you mentioned like the pillars.
Yeah.
I remember seeing something where you used, I believe, the monorail tracks
Yeah.
as like these bridge suspensions, and I was like, oh my god, this looks amazing. How do you get these ideas? You just like browse, okay, what's like a vanilla thing? Hey, if I just like stretch this track, it looks like a bridge
Mm,
suspension or like a pillar or
yeah.
something. It's like amazing stuff.
I just remember that's so funny. Like the idea of using monorail tracks for that specifically, like comes from a completely different game for me. I was watching for a while. I was watching like a lot of roller coaster tycoon videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I saw people using like the monorail tracks in that game that are completely different, and they work like in a completely different way. But they were using them as sort of guardrails to sort of highlight their path systems, and like I was like, that looks pretty interesting. I wonder if I couldn't do that in Skylines, and sort of started playing around with it, and then it turned out you can do quite a lot with them. So
Yeah, and it looks amazing.
yeah, I'm very proud of my craft when it comes to these bridges.
100%. I think
Yeah,
those look really, really amazing. But you make some really cool interchanges as well. Like I've seen some, not in Discord, but I think on Twitter. Wow, Right, great stuff. Really, really amazing. How do you
Yeah.
actually go about when you're like, okay, I want to build a new city? How do you approach that? Are you the type like I think there's always like almost you could say like two types of players. One player that plans out every little detail and then just like, just builds up on that. And then there's like, we'll just start a city and we'll just see where it goes. So how do you go about starting a new city?
Oh, I it's a very sort of long process, and sometimes it's very quick. It's there's two ways I start a city: either accidentally, or like by heavily sort of thought through, like planned in my head, and I almost know where everything goes, like
Wow.
like maybe months in advance of like actually starting, or even like working on a map maybe. But okay, never really that much, but it's either very planned or it's just accidental. So um and you never really know. Like sometimes it's just like whenever I start the game, I sometimes get so inspired and I get stuck with it something. So I've started cities by just opening a map and like with the intention to sort of just mess around or test something, and then eventually like building a complete city, or like spending maybe hundreds of hours on that map. So
Amazing.
it's sometimes like that, but sometimes I would go and I would have this idea and I start sketching, like maybe like drawing in paint, like the rough ideas of a map, and then I would sort of draw things onto this map and make the map in the game, and like sort of taking screenshots and drawing out like here could be like roads, here could be this, here could be an airport, and stuff like that. Like that's my, I guess, my best tip if you're struggling with the planning. Like, yeah, my best tip for like planning out the city, if you truly want to plan, if you're like starting a city on a map, like load into the map, like take screenshots of it and put them into paint or like whatever image editing software you want to use, because it's so much easier to edit a picture than to edit a city. You could like just draw out some lines and like see, oh yeah, this works, this doesn't. You can figure out like draw areas, like you can draw a circle, like say, oh, here goes the airport, here goes the downtown, here goes the train station, and just play around with ideas that way. And you can do the same with interchanges and like road layouts and everything. So that's like one of my favorite tricks, I guess. And it's not like exclusively. I'm sure like hundreds, if not thousands, of players already do this, but it's like still very useful.
Yeah, I know I don't. And I love
Yeah,
that actually. I think I
yeah,
heard you say that before
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, deja
And I
vu.
I really need to I really need to start implementing that because that's a good technique, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a fun thing to share as well. I think I might have shared it in some point in a video, or at least in streams. I've shared sort of this process a little bit, but yeah, it's a fun thing to show, like how you can incorporate parts that aren't the game into actually playing the game. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You also mentioned Teddy about like accidentally just building
oh yeah,
cities. I remember distinctly one time I was streaming and I was looking for someone to raid, and I saw you
yeah,
were live, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. We could go
yes,
over to Teddy." And I
yeah.
would clicked on your stream, and I saw you were like for 8 hours, 8 hours 30 minutes. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know how long Teddy's going to stream. We're going to jump over there. It's possible that he will end the stream soon." And we came over to your stream, and you were like, "Oh, welcome. I just finished this map today." And I thought it looked so good, I had to start a city, and I had to leave then. And I remember, like later,
Oh
you tweeted about that, I think, and you're like, "Okay, we did an accidental 12-hour stream where I built an entire
yes.
city on this map that I made." So I know
Oh,
what you
that's
mean when you say like accidentally.
yeah.
It's
That's one
such
of
a fun
those.
story.
Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah, like I don't know. It's just so hard to get away. Like when you like when I feel like inspired about like doing something like this, it's just so hard to sort of look away and do something else. Like, and if I don't have to go, I'll probably just keep on going. I don't know. I guess I have a lot of patience or like stamina for that kind of thing. But I don't know. Like when you're in that zone, like everybody knows that zone when you get like really inspired.
Yes.
Like it's magical. It's kind of it's addicting as well, I guess. So maybe not. Maybe I'm getting too much of it, but yeah, that sounds like something that could have happened in the past a few times.
Yeah, I was mind blown by that actually. I thought it was really cool though. Like, hey, I just wanted to create a map, so I finished it, and I thought it was so cool. I just had to build a city on it, and like I did like a 12-hour stream, which is really really cool. Fun actually. So you're also a modded player, I believe. Do you
Yes.
only play modded? And then that would answer the question if you prefer modded or vanilla gameplay.
I play both. Currently, like the last month or so, I've been playing mostly vanilla. I would say, and I've been more and more like sort of trying to play the game without mods. And I'm not entirely sure why yet, but I think it has to do with something like challenging myself to sort of show that it's not, you all these things that people like to complain about, that it's not possible if you're on Xbox, or it's not possible. It's like, with a little bit of patience, okay, with a lot of patience and
A lot of patience.
and the right sort of tricks and stuff like that, you can like do pretty amazing stuff even without mods. It's like, it's not all about the
So
mods.
true.
Like, so I think I'm trying to prove mostly to myself, but generally I play with a lot of mods, and I like the mods are so good and so nice. So I'm looking forward to getting back to them, but only after I try to finish this kind of city I'm working on now without any mods.
And then you'll jump back into playing with mods. I
Yeah.
also like to play both ways, modded and
Yeah.
vanilla.
Yeah.
Different cities, of course. But I guess for me personally, I think I would, now that I know mods, because I come from I'm a long time PS4 player. I just prefer some of these like visual mods, quality of life mods, prop line tool, just like the small simple
Yeah.
things, which I think, like the prop line tool, for instance, like drawing a
Yeah.
line of trees, that should have been in the base game.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, that is something that I use so
Yeah.
much, like just lining up
Or
highways with bushes or with
Oh, yeah.
trees, for instance. It's just the simple things. But I also love vanilla. The only thing that bothers me is probably the look of like some industrial areas and maybe
Yeah.
some sloping issues, but that's
Yeah.
not the problem. And I think there's a lot of vanilla content creators and players, Skylines players
Yeah.
out there that upload videos of their
Yeah.
vanilla tutorials on how to make a good looking city. And I'm just like sometimes watching that stuff and I'm like, this looks better than my modded stuff. Like
Yeah.
the possibilities you can do in vanilla just by thinking outside the box, just like
Yeah.
take your time and really think about what you want to do. And there's probably a way in vanilla you can do it.
Yeah. But there's also a rational reason why I kind of prefer to play with less mods and sometimes completely without them, because it's sort of it's about limitations, like putting limitations on yourself, because it becomes a lot easier to sort of wrap your brain around everything not being perfect if you have put this sort of this artificial limitation that says, oh, I can't use this mod or whatever, I can't do that. So if you have like for example, if you decide to not use node controller as a mod that sort of lets you control the nodes and do smooth stuff, then it's a lot easier to be happy about stuff looking a little bit less perfect. So it's like this rational sort of realization as well, that actually makes it more fun for me to play the game with less stuff. It's a long way of saying like less can be more sometimes.
True.
But it's not to be underestimated. I think it's like it made the game like so much more fun for me to play, like doing it this way and limiting myself. I never when I used like the full extent of a workshop for like mods and assets, I could spend like days just browsing. It felt like I could spend days browsing assets and trying to find more, and just getting fatigued. Yeah, and then I remember like distinctly, like I was doing this city and I was like, oh, I can't find a custom asset metro train that sort of matches my custom asset buses. And I was like sort of distraught over that. And like, it should be possible. Like, come on, it's not a big issue, but I just couldn't sort of get around that, and I got like lost interest in, and I think that's like something that you don't really have that problem if you're limiting yourself, like for example, to not go with vanilla, or only go with vanilla assets, or only go with the vanilla game, like no mods at all. Like it's a lot easier to be sort of satisfied. Limitations is good. That's what I'm a big sort of
It's true. It's
fan
true.
of.
Yeah, I agree. And like even when I play modded, I use very few mods. Like the quality of life mods, of course, I
Yeah,
like those. Some visual mods, some mods that you don't need. The another toolbar thingy where you can make it transparent.
yeah,
You don't really need it.
yeah,
It's again quality of life stuff.
yeah.
But I also love to do just vanilla. I love to watch vanilla series as well as play vanilla. And I think that the vanilla players, console players, or only vanilla players, with all the extra content that Paradox and Castle Order puts out for the game, I think you like there's so many possibilities. Like, what do you think, Teddy, about all the DLCs and the CCPs that have been released? Uh, do they bring enough value for replayability of the game, like in general?
I think they do. Maybe how do I separate this? Maybe I think it's like the workshop and the custom sort of the user, the fan created content. I think it's 80%, and I think maybe the DLCs and the sort of official content is maybe like 20%. It's still
Okay.
like important. I think it's still important, but I don't think it's the most important factor for like replayability and like the longevity of the game. Uh, but they definitely have added a lot, and like I'm very happy about almost everything that's been released, and I've never really been that disappointed, uh, which I guess says quite a lot considering the amount of stuff we've gotten so far. But it's like it goes together very much with the user generated content and the workshop. So
Yeah, 100%. I think that is you mentioned that that's like the longevity of the game is
yeah,
also based like 80% um around the custom content that is made for the game, the mods, the assets, and everything that comes with it. I think that's very true.
yeah,
I really really like that they actually work together with modders and custom content creators to release new stuff and sometimes to even release like official stuff, right? For the CCPs, for instance. I do think there's really some amazing DLCs, especially if you're only playing vanilla or if you're a console player. I think like that's the best thing they can do. Just like keep bringing these little nuances to the game where you, as a vanilla player, have more control over the look of your city, over the functionality of your city, and I think
mm,
that's really amazing that they still like keep bringing out content. I really love that fact.
yeah.
Like, do you have a favorite DLC or a content creator pack?
Oh, I think my favorite DLC might be Park Life.
Park
Um,
Life is nice.
I think it is because I remember it so much. There came like a bunch of new trees at that point as well, and they're not really part of Park Life, but it's sort of. I remember I had so much fun with it when it arrived, so it's like. Um, but there's like plenty of really good ones, and there's sort of very practical ones. But I think like from my heart, I think Park Life. And
Yeah.
my favorite content creator pack is I think it is Avanya's European buildings, the European suburbia, because it's it just sort of completely fills that gap that of those kinds of buildings that the game otherwise wouldn't have. So and they are so good, they work so well in almost every sort of situation. So uh, I think that's it.
That's
That's
a really
those.
good one. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
really good one. I also enjoy Park Life a lot, and especially because you get all these detail options
yeah.
and all that stuff. But I also really, really like the recent or one of the recent ones, the plazas and promenades, the
Mm,
walkable areas. wow, I thought it was so amazing with the
Mm,
new look, the pedestrian roads, the wall to wall specialization. That really like mind blown, right?
mm,
I think I just thought it looked so good and
yeah,
brought again even more options to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
customize your city. If you say, okay, we're gonna do this vanilla, you have
yeah.
so much more options to do that. And yeah, for CCPs, I guess for me, I don't know, mid-century modern is amazing. I do love the 19th century seaside resorts
Yeah,
CCP as well.
it
But
was a
like, there's
really
so
nice.
many, it's difficult to choose like a favorite one. But yeah, I think for DLCs, I think I would go with plazas and promenades. Of course, different DLCs have the
Yeah,
different functionalities. As you already also said, like if you're
yeah,
a fan of airports, buildings, and
yeah,
planes, you're probably gonna take like my favorite one is the airports.
yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
like,
so
yeah, it's
go
kind of
ahead.
like your head says something. Maybe my head says mass transit because like there were so many useful things that was added with it, like for how I play the game, like the monorail tracks, for example.
Yeah, yeah,
But my heart says still like I need to go with my heart, I think, a little bit, or
for
Jeb's
park
heart, I
life.
guess. So
Perfect, perfect. So you also mentioned SimCity, like in
yeah,
the beginning, and what do you think is it that sets City Skylines apart from other simulation games like SimCity, for instance?
I think it is. It's not. Yeah, but, like the user generated content and the sort of workshop and the modularity and like that stuff is very important. But I kind of feel like it's a lot of it is also timing, like the timing of when the game was released. Like so much has happened to it because of the timing, and I don't know if there's like really, yeah, I don't know, maybe speculation on like how it would be if there was like another SimCity game released after the aforementioned 2013 release. That it was a little bit of a sort of disappointment to many, but yeah, I think the timing is definitely like they sort of got it at the time, and that let them grow and like sort of figure out the game while it was growing in a great way. And the one biggest aspect is definitely the workshop and the modularity of it, the modability, I guess. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I also think that
yeah,
really like really sets it apart, and
mm,
um, again, just also comes hand in hand
yeah,
with that replayability. Like if you
yeah,
have the
mm,
if you can play with mods and custom
yeah,
assets, it's like yeah, you sometimes go back to vanilla,
yeah,
but you're like always like, okay, it's just like a few mods, and
yeah,
stuff. And um, every time when there's like something new, it's just like, wow, it's like
yeah.
amazing. I think, and that's really what does set it apart. I think also, yeah,
Yeah, the game was always made to be like modded. It was always like from the start. It was like sort of an idea. So it wasn't just luck on timing. And maybe that's a bit sort of critical on my part, but like it was a good design decision to like sort of understand that we can't make everything ourselves. Let's make the players sort of change this game in like many ways. And yeah, and here we are, like
exactly, yeah.
almost 8 years after, and like a million or so assets on the workshop. Well, assets and mods. So
It's crazy, right? This
yeah,
number, it's wow,
yeah.
amazing how much it is actually. I think. Teddy, do you also have any like memorable moments aside from failing study courses, or like achievements that you from the game that you think like, oh wow, this was like the biggest thing for me in the game,
Oh,
or maybe for content creation with the game?
oh, that's a tricky question. Like I always have this sort of. There's so many. That's a problem. I don't know which are the especially memorable ones. When I like started sort of to build my hometown, I've tried to build my hometown several times, but
Oh, nice.
Um, I basically the second time I tried doing it, I built the bulk of it in like 1 month, and that was like 1 month of probably the most intense I've ever played this game. And there was so many new stuff, new things. I don't know. I figured out the way to make like boats using roads, and it was like I remember I was just my head was completely sort of turned into that was pretty memorable. And eventually that city as well, like it sort of got. I was in the local newspaper and stuff like that in my hometown, and for the.
Really? Oh, that's amazing.
So it was kind of fun. I had to I got to talk to reporters like who made. There was like a radio interviews, and it was kind of funny.
That is so cool. That is
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah. So that was kind of memorable, but like there's so much of it. I can't even start.
There's just too many. Like for me,
Yeah,
for me it's much smaller. It's a much smaller achievement. I just think like for me, my very first city that I built on PlayStation 4, when I reached 100,000 residents,
yeah,
that was for me that was like that was so amazing. I think
yeah.
I don't know if I still have that save file. I was thinking about maybe for like a special live stream or something, I should probably hook up my
Just
PlayStation and
oh
just
yeah,
try and go and find that old save, or like find any old save and just like see, okay, what did we do here? How can I improve like stuff, or just like go and check out an old city. But yeah, reaching
oh
that first like
yeah,
100K residents. And like for me, when I play the game and when I start cities, like for me, the goal to like, you're never really done with a city, in my opinion, right?
yeah,
But for me, it's like, okay, if I reach 100,000 citizens in a
yeah,
city, that's like for me the point where I would say, okay, the city is finished, it's done.
yeah.
Like time to move on to the next build. But yeah, that was a memorable moment for sure for me, and for me personal, big achievement reaching that 100K citizens
Yeah,
in the city, because like there are so many issues. And
yeah,
like for a
absolutely.
city on PlayStation, you kept going back, you watched tutorials and you changed
Yeah,
stuff, and it was like it's a mess. And like, oh my god, just like I messed up so many things in that
yeah,
city, just like with highway connections and pollution
mm,
to the too close, like industrial to the residential, and like, oh my
yeah,
god, it's like, and I had to go back and fix so much stuff. It was really really crazy. But I think that's like one of the things that is like, there's no real right or wrong way to play the game. Like you can just learn as you go along. I think that's really really cool. And what is difficult for me or easy for me might not be difficult or easy for you. Like there's so many different types of players. I think
oh
that's
yeah,
really really cool.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and we can learn from each other. Like,
100%.
if it not just like if it's just not just the technical details. Like we can learn from each other how to. Like I could probably learn from a lot of people how to look at something and say this is fine and like move on. Like how to get closure. That's something I would love to learn to be better at.
Yeah.
So like it's all like those sort of the soft aspects of it as well. Like what is it's yeah, it's great. It's great.
It really is. What do you think are
Yeah.
like some of the biggest challenges for new or for experienced players in the game?
I think for new players, I think it's all. I'm going to talk so much about mods and assets and workshop, but like the most tricky thing is like if you go into the game today, like and you've been told like, oh yeah, I need to get the mods right. I need to get like a collection. I need to get all the mods, and I'm going to start using them all at once. That you're going to get very overwhelmed. Like the game itself can be kind of overwhelming just as it is. Like all the, especially if you have multiple like sort of DLCs and all sorts of features. Uh, if you also go and start with all the mods, you'll have like no idea what probably 95% of them are doing at any given time. And I think that can be very demotivating when you sort of when you run into issues because of that, or like maybe your game is causing issues like you because you accidentally got one mod too many, or like one mod that doesn't work with another mod. And like this is stuff like I've had to learn, and many others have had to learn the hard way through like a lot of experience just testing and failing, and like talking to friends and like, oh, do you know about this and that and here. If I wasn't already this invested in the game, I could easily see how you would get like demotivated and like get fed up with that sort of stuff. So yeah, the biggest challenge is like probably to get into it but not get overwhelmed, I think. um
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. I actually
Mm,
did say the same exact thing about getting
yeah.
overwhelmed from the game, because, like, in the beginning, it is a lot. Like, even without
Mm,
mods and custom content from the workshop, I think
yeah.
the game can be really overwhelming, and which is
Yeah.
also why I always like preach Like one super important tip that I can give is always like take your time. Like go in the game, start, open up a map, start a city, but calm down, take your time.
Yeah.
And especially for like with milestones, you reach a milestone, pause the timer, assess your situation. Okay, see, what do I have now? What can I work with now? Which areas can I go back to? But slow, to not get overwhelmed. Of course, if you have access to mods and assets, the
Yeah.
same thing, or even more so. Slow down, start off small by using some
Yeah.
mods, and then work
One
your way
step at a
up. And
time.
exactly. And once you like build your
Yeah.
city, you got it going, it's up and running, and you feel like, oh, I
Mm.
wish I could do something like that. And then you go find an asset or a
Absolutely.
mod that you can then do and you can then use. But yeah, that's actually a really good tip, I think.
Yeah.
To
And
not.
yeah, and I have this experience as well from trying to like I never actually played SimCity 4 that much as like modded SimCity 4 that is, but I played other games like SimCity 3000 and even SimCity 2000 and Cities XL and like a bunch of games in the genre before, but I never really played SimCity 4 or 4000 or 4. SimCity 4 it's called. Oh my god.
Or I'm
And
not really sure. I've never played a SimCity
yeah,
game, so I.
but I was aware of it for all the time, and I was like looking at the pictures people were taking, like, oh, this looks so fun, and like I eventually tried to get into it like relatively late with all the mods being established and all that stuff, and I was like, how hard can it be? I've kept up, I know stuff, and I was just having massive problems trying to get the game to work because I didn't understand the mods, and I was trying to like do everything at once, and that was massively demotivating. So then fortunately Cities Skylines came along and I could sort of jump on that from the start. So I know very very well it's like very hard to sort of have restraint when you see like, oh, but I could have that and I could have that and I could have that as well. But taking it easy is a challenge, I think.
That's very true, because
Yeah.
as soon as the world of mods and custom content, like that was for me.
Mm.
But I'm always like super scared that I can't, like, my computer is gonna crash or
Mm.
something. I'm so scared, and I'm like a tech noob. I have no idea about these things, so I
Yeah.
I always take it slow when it comes to these things, and I always try to keep
Yeah.
a low profile on custom
Yeah.
content,
Yeah.
on assets and mods, just to be safe. I
Yeah.
know my machine can handle it and everything is
Mm.
good, but like, I just I try
Yeah.
to keep it down. But I think that's also what helped me in the
Yeah.
beginning, because I was like, okay,
Absolutely.
no, I'm just gonna get like 6 or 7 mods and that's it, right?
Mm.
Obviously now I've upped that number, because you find so many useful things that you think you need, and you just get them. And but yeah, in the beginning I was like really taking it slow, just to test out stuff and see how everything works, and to not get overwhelmed. But since I was a vanilla console player a long time before, so I already got the base game out of the way, of course.
Yeah.
I could focus on the mods then, which was really good like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Teddy, can you share some of your secrets to making your cities look beautiful? Like maybe we can go a bit vanilla and mod it though, if like, is there like some special trick that you always use to beautify your
Um,
cities?
it's going to be one of those. It's not a very technical answer, but I think it's like very important. Not important. It's just a game. It's not important, but like a very useful trick is to sort of really know for yourself, like what is like how will I be looking at the city? How will I be judging it? Like from what sort of perspective? Like what it can be like from this specific from what specific angle do I want to look at it? Like or like from what scale? Like how zoomed out do I want it to look good? Because it's going to be a very like a big difference if you like always want to go down on like street level and like show like uh, just people walking down the street and like every sort of sign and or every traffic light and such. It's going to be a completely different sort of way how you play the game. If you want it to look like a massive metropolis and you see how everything sort of connects together, which is maybe more how I prefer to do it, like more zoomed out, more macro scale. But how do you use this? That's another question. But I think the first question to answer is like, do I want to be a detailed city from the smallest details, or do I want it to be a good looking sort of macro city? Do I want to look zoomed in, or zoomed out? And I think it kind of, if you know what you want, it helps a lot in letting you build cities that look good as well. So, and use trees. Okay, but yeah, there was one of those as well. Just plant trees everywhere. They hide every imperfection, and
That's very true. I use a ton of trees always. Yeah, I think that's actually very true. I've never thought of it that way. Like, do I want to go
yeah,
like deep down, street level,
yeah,
maybe like first person, and just like see every little detail, or just see the
yeah,
big scale of the
yeah,
city? Then of course you can sort of kind of neglect one or the other depending on
yeah,
what type of player you are.
yeah, absolutely.
For me, I think it's maybe a bit of both. So I do go
Mm,
into like micro detailing at times. I think that's more of the type of player I am. I think I'm going for the not into that much detail that I actually
yeah,
plant, street signs, and I place street
yeah,
signs, or like yeah, do that level of detail, but just like to make
yeah,
areas look nice. Obviously, the decorations tab, the landscaping tab with like trees and rocks, foliage. That is something that I religiously use in cities, in areas where I'm like, okay, here's a bit of space. We
yeah,
need some walking area, maybe a small custom park or something, and just like go wild with that. So
yeah,
but in the end, I have to, for me personally, when I play and when I do some beautifications, I have to feel, in air quotes, that area, and like, is this okay? Does this look good for me? And then I'll just look at it from every angle, like, street
mm,
level, and just like go above a bit, and then just like to see
yeah,
sort of the entire picture, like from
yeah,
all angles. And then if it feels good for me and if it looks good,
yeah,
then I would assume it looks good for other
yeah,
people as well. And I can, you can show off some screenshots. But yeah,
yeah,
very depends on different players, of course.
yeah. And the like, it's such a good thing. You don't really have to decide on one. I make it sound like you have to choose one, but you don't have to. You can mix however much you want. It helps a lot to knowing what is most important to you, though. But you can mix freely, and that makes the game really, really fun. I think. It was something else I just came up with, and then it disappeared from my mind again. But
Oh no, I
I'll
hate
see
when
if
that
it comes.
happens.
See if it comes up later.
Okay. Why don't we
Uh,
talk about
yeah.
the collaboration Five Builders, One City? You were just a part of the season 3 as
Oh yeah.
a guest builder.
As were
Uh,
you.
so as was I, yes, and it was so much fun. It was amazing,
Yeah.
and that I even got asked was so much fun. Was not about me right now. So how was your experience, and do you actually like these kind of collaborations, which can be seen as sort of a multiplayer
Yeah.
mode in City Skylines?
It's it's very fun. It I've also noticed it can be very tricky sometimes, especially like, unfortunately, there's no real great way of playing the game, of syncing stuff. Right? There's no perfect way of syncing stuff up, so it's very tricky to sort of sync assets and mods and sending save games back and forth, and so it can sometimes take a bit of work, unfortunately, which is maybe why I'm like not doing them all the time. But it's really fun. It's like so fun to like look at what other people have built, and like, adding your own sort
Yeah.
of, like, adding your own build next to it, and it's great fun. And then, like, last year, in the ending of before Christmas last year, I actually tried there is an actual multiplayer mod to this game that lets you play in real time multiplayer with friends. And I tried that and had a really nice experience with it, which I expected it to be much more buggy than it is. But so if you truly want like to have a real time sort of multiplayer experience with friends, like, there is options, but beware, it's a little bit advanced. There's also, of course, like the movie exports, which I'm a big sort of, I guess, proponent of as well. Like, I
Yeah.
talk about movie exports a lot, and basically that's another way you can share stuff between people and save games and such, which has its own sort of unique challenges, but it's really fun. It's very useful if you just have, like, for example, like an interchange or like some road layout, or like, but it could be an entire like part of a city you wanted to share to someone else as well. So that could also be seen as a form of multiplaying. But and if you wonder how that works, Toady YPQ made an excellent YouTube video on it recently, so you can watch that.
Nice. Yeah, I know
To
Toady as well.
learn how it works.
This is the second episode of the podcast, and Cities by Diana, the first guest, also mentioned Toady. So we got 2 episodes,
okay.
2 times Toady. I think I have to make a call.
Recurring guest. Yeah,
I think I have to make a call. A special guest of sorts. Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Exactly. I'll try.
Yeah.
So Teddy, you also mentioned like challenges for players. What is it that you struggle with in the game the most? If there is anything.
Like it's one of those like it's always like going to be design and stuff like that. I'm not going to be happy with how things look, but I feel like I've already sort of talked about that a lot. Like the perfectionist sort of in me is never satisfied. But like when it comes to the game itself, I kind of do. I struggle with. I probably do. I probably have a little bit of hubris. I think I can do everything. I think, but I'm pretty sure I can't. I never really have very big cities. I very rarely. You said like the 100,000 milestone. That's a big city for me. Like that hasn't happened.
Me too. That's huge.
Yeah, it hasn't happened that many times that I actually had a city bigger than that. Like I think the biggest I ever did was 240,000, and some parts of building a city like that makes it easier. Like ironically, I think you get an easier time with traffic, but to get the city to keep growing and like keep functioning, like in general, that stuff is just painful. And I don't think it's just my PC. I think it's something that I'm. So, like maybe we'll see me trying to do a massive sort of a quest for like 1 million or like a 500,000 population someday, but. I honestly think right now I wouldn't be able to do it even. I wouldn't even know where to start to try to like make something that big. So, and that would of course call like some people would consider me a fraud, like a failure because I couldn't build large cities. Because some people, this is very, very important. Like this is how you play the game, like build big cities. And I mean, it's fine. I'm just using extreme language, but
no, absolutely no worries. I mean, of course, but there's like different types of players.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really fun. Like I get so impressed whenever I see somebody who has managed to build like something like 1 million people, 1 million citizen city, and like it's like, how do you even like that's
how even exactly
how even like how do you even like the patience like
yes.
But I think that's a technical thing that I do struggle with in the game, or I could get better at. Could learn a lot more.
I always try to improve. I mean, there's probably a lot of areas where I do have like room for improvement. What I really struggle with, I guess also like layout, like not to be too repetitive in my designs in the areas that I do. Like the start of the city comes to mind, right? Almost do it the same start every time with the roundabout and separate entrance and exit lanes for the industrial area, which is a really good tip for the initial cargo traffic. But like that kind of, it's like so automated in me. Okay, start a city, do that. We got the roundabout, we got the avenue splits off, we got the separate entrance and exit, and then I go to the residential area, and like that's probably something I would need to improve for me on my gameplay, just to be also then satisfied. However, I guess I could eventually go back to these areas and change them, but I hardly ever do. So that's just something that I struggle with, I guess.
Yeah, it's super relatable. I feel the same. Like it's very easy to get like sort of get stuck in the same tracks. Like I would always, whenever I am faced with the vanilla city start, like you get these roads going into nowhere, right? Like just a roundabout. Like I'm gonna always do like the roundabout and then just connect it the same way I always do. And as you say, like I'll fix it later, but a lot of the times I would never really get back to it, and then it's stuck there as a sort of eyesore. And even if there's a nice city around it, it's just going to be this. Yeah,
This constant reminder.
Yeah, and there is a big distinction between accidentally starting a city and if you had some. If you did that sort of planning stage of like where you painted, like in that case, like just playing around in paint makes a huge difference. Like
For the
you could
start
sort
of the city also.
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, even in the start, just playing around and drawing some lines and like, nah, I don't like this. I don't like this. I like this. I'll try that. And that's how I've gotten the most sort of variation, sort of anyway, because left to my own sort of devices at any given time, I will very often default into the same ways of doing things. And I think most people do that, so it's
true. And
it's
since
very
I need to work on my variations, I think I have to implement that tip with like taking a screenshot and drawing the lines out and like really planning out my areas a lot better than I do right now.
Oh yeah, and trial and error and testing, and I think actually that was what I was supposed to say. Haha, on the secrets to making beautiful stuff, I guess. Like just testing, and then sort of, I don't like it. Test something else. Delete. Test again. It's not very satisfying, but yeah, just keep testing until it works.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a good tip for sure. So is there actually anything in the game you dislike? Like, of course, Chirper is a bit controversial, I guess. Maybe the ads in the radio stations. I don't know if you do listen to the radio stations. Is there something you really dislike about the game?
I tend to turn off the ads. I don't mind the radio stations. I think they're pretty fine, a lot of them. I haven't listened to all of them, which might sound weird, but I don't mind the Sherpa. I'm stuck with Sherpa. I have a Stockholm syndrome with that guy, but I don't like the Sherp coin that much. I don't like the stock. That's like, maybe it's because it's so recent, but I had some like bad experiences with. I was playing the game pretty weirdly. I was playing with unlimited money, and I was trying to sort of get back into playing with money from that.
Yeah.
And it turned out I had done some stuff with the Sherp coin and done some stuff with investments, which doesn't make any sense.
We're talking about the Financial Districts
DLC. Exactly. And I had done stuff with, I had bought and invested with unlimited money, which doesn't make any sense for the first part. And then I was trying to sell stuff after I had sort of turned off the unlimited money. Now I had limited money again, and it was weird. I could sell my invested, I could sell my stocks, and I would actually it would draw money off my balance, and the other way around, and I was just very confused. So from experience, I'm not that big of a fan of that particular DLC. I'm sorry, it's like maybe my least favorite so far. But
that's understandable.
Yeah, but it's fine. The buildings are nice, and I'm glad. I'm not going to remove it from my game or anything like that. But for the amount of headache or head scratching I got on it, that's my. And it's not like it's not like I hate it or anything like that. It's absolutely not. It's very. I almost love everything about it. It's just like that's the first thing that comes to mind. That
that's fair. I mean, it's a negative experience in that regard. Yeah. So of course you're gonna connect it with that probably forever, right?
Exactly. Like there's probably other stuff as well, but that's what's in my head right now. So that's what's going on the podcast.
Yeah, that's good.
I can see the headlines. Teddy Radko does not recommend financial districts. No, not like this. I kind of like it. You get it if you want it. Get it if you want it. Test it out, but be careful with the Sherp coin. I'm telling you. Also, be careful playing with mods on the Sherp coin. It might mess you up big time.
That might mess it up. Yeah. For me personally, I don't think there is something I dislike so much. For Chirper, I love Chirper. I mean, I have no problem with Chirper personally. The radio ads, I did play with them up until like 2 or 3 months ago when I finally got the music mod and I turned them off. And I gotta say, the ads are super funny, right? Don't get me wrong; they're super funny, all of them, basically. But I kept listening to them, and then I started to during the live streams, I started to there's an ad. Let's switch the station. All right, okay. So we switch the
Yeah.
station, and it just keeps switching, and I'm like, and my chat was going wild. They were like, "You got get the music mod." And I'm like, "Yeah, I will at some point." And so I've
It's
been playing the
oh
game
my
for
god.
years with
Yeah.
just, oh, there's an ad, change the station. There's an ad, change the station. But then I got the music mod, and I gotta say, it's so much better now with the ads turned
Yeah.
off. I might go
Yeah.
back and turn them on at some point when I miss them. But for now,
Yeah.
like I know, like if you're playing it for years, you know the ads like in and out. You can mouth the entire ad probably,
Yeah.
but they are
Yeah.
funny. But otherwise, like in terms of gameplay, I guess sometimes how the slopes maybe look in vanilla, that's something
Oh yeah.
would have disliked. And maybe what we already talked about, like prop line tool, that like these like small detailed basic functions are not in the base
Oh
game.
yeah. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. There's
uh
a few of those. Absolutely. I agree. It's funny you say with the ads, by the way, that like it's so really that's like how you would do in real life. Oh no, not sitting in your car and like, oh my god, just sap to just keep doing that in the game. It's kind of funny.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. It's so real life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also like a very comfortable mod, the music mod, just
Yes.
to like, okay, no
Absolutely.
ads. You can even turn off songs. However, that doesn't work 100%. Like it still like plays the first like second or two. I mean, there are ways to overwrite the files, I think, in the game, uh to where the ads wouldn't play, or like certain songs. But I was like, no, I'm not messing with that. I'm just getting the music mod and just like, turning the ads off. So that works pretty good, and
Yeah.
I'm really really happy about that. So are there, actually, I forgot to ask earlier, but do you have top 5 mods of all time? Actually, is it possible for you to break it down to
Oh
just
my.
5 mods?
It's so recently. I've actually answered this question like quite a few times recently, but I've been starting to
Oh.
do it. I've been starting to do it more sort of sarcastically and like doing jokes with it. So I kind of don't remember which the actual mods are. It's like, oh, my favorite mod is instant return to desktop because it lets me rage quit quicker or something like that. Um, um, but kind of, it is one of my favorite mods still, though. But it's maybe not
It's
like
good, yeah.
in the actual top 5. But I Move It is absolutely important for me. Move It exports and all that stuff. You can do almost everything with Move It. It seems. Intersection marking tool is like another one of those that's relatively recent still. Like it's not been around for that long. We're still like it's adding so many features. Maxergy is adding so many features all the time. It's very powerful. Node controller, both versions really. Like there's the original Kian Sarin version of it and the sort of improved node controller renewal by Maxergy. Both are great. I prefer the original one because I'm a nerd that way, and I don't like new stuff. And two other mods to fill out that list. I'm gonna miss so many important ones. So I'm just gonna say instant return to desktop and 81 tiles. Yes, there we have it.
That's good. That's
There we
perfect.
have
That's
it.
perfect. Thank you. It's really difficult to break down top 5
Yeah,
mods, but
yeah,
I think that's a pretty good list. Yeah, I think it's a really
yeah.
good list. So we've been recording for over an hour now, which I think is really
Yes.
good. And
Yeah.
we're about to wrap it up. So I just got one more question. You did talk about the screenshot and adding the lines to
Yeah.
basically draw out your plans initially as a top tip that you would give. Are there any other tips that you can give new players, maybe listening in now, on the game in general?
Yeah, take it easy. Like it's the other thing I was sort of ranting about as well. And like take it easy, one step at a time, and don't compare yourself too much to others when you're playing this game. Like especially if you're sort of into this game for like the creative part, like the designing things, because it takes a long time to get good at anything, and so also this game, and also how to sort of design things in this game. And it's very easy to look at. Like I still look at other people's creations, and like sometimes get like, oh, I can't even do that, I feel bad, it's a very sort of human, it's a very normal reaction. I think everybody feels it, but it's like you should really try to avoid it because it just takes time. Let it take time. redo and try again, and yeah, don't feel bad if it doesn't like look like you want on the first try or the second or even the 10th try, because you're gonna be on this like, if you really want to like keep improving, like you just let it take time, and eventually you will get better and you will like what you do more. You will, there's no objectively better here, by the way. It's like, it's completely philosophical, but like eventually like you will like what you do more, you will feel better at it, and I don't think I've ever built anything that feels like it's been a downgrade from what I built a week ago or something like that. So it's really that thing that makes the game so incredible for me. Like it feels like I'm constantly evolving, and yeah, you need to consider that from the start. It's like it's an ever evolving journey you're about to sort of start on. So take it easy and don't compare. There we have it.
That is really good. I like that tip a lot. I have nothing to add to that. On that note, I guess that wraps up the second episode. Thank you all so much for watching, for listening in. Teddy, massive shout outs once again to you. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. It was so much fun. I will obviously link all your stuff in the description below of the YouTube video. But tell us, where can we find you? You're at twitch.tv/Teddy Radko.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is the correct place. And the same equivalent with YouTube and a bunch of other places as well, like Twitter and Instagram. And it doesn't really matter, but but if you want to catch me live, you'd go to the Twitch channel probably. If you want to see the videos, YouTube. So
very nice. I will, of course, link all the stuff in the description. So once again, thank you so much. This was the second episode. I hope you all enjoyed this. Stay safe out there. Have a good day. Bye-bye.